Hello, I'm Melissa, I write books. Welcome to the video. It's about the middle of the year and I thought I would do a little mid-year writing check-in just to kind of reflect. Because I do think as writers, we typically tend to do a lot of goals, plans, forward, what are we doing, how are we doing it, when is the draft going, when are you publishing, when are you doing that? And so I just thought it would be nice to reflect. And actually this year has been such a journey so far. So I recently went back and watched my 2024 goals video, which I guess I will link. Please actually do it, Alyssa. Please link it. Thank you. I've actually been keeping to my goals much better than I thought. So my first writing goal of 2024 was to get Project Groove, or the wedding season, querying, to be queried in the trenches. And it is. I started querying the wedding season in April, like April 6th is when I did that, which is around the time I said I wanted to query, or I think I said like in March I wanted to do it, so I was a little bit after that, but I think that's okay because it actually ended up taking a full draft more than I thought it would. And each draft typically takes me about 2 months, sometimes more than that, actually often more than that. I think it averages around 2 months though. And so I had thought like, I'll get it back in January and I'll be done by the end of March, which is actually what happened. But I ended up doing a full line level pass, which was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. And then I also did like a read through copy edit pass, which was also a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So, you know, lesson learned, because I haven't done that part of drafting or that part of revising in like 2 years before that. And even when I did it then, I did not do it to that level. Like, I don't think I've ever actually done a line level edit that was that intense, where I was actually like focusing on each paragraph that intensely, which I think was good, but I just was not anticipating that. So I'm definitely, that's a huge win. And also with that book, I did go to a writing conference, as if you're a friend of the channel, you know, at the beginning of April, which was really awesome. Got to connect with agents there and pitch my book in person, and got my first page sort of critiqued in like a live setting. I have a video about that if you want to check that out too, which is something like, I think I had also said in my goals that I wanted to make connections and build a community, and that was something I was definitely hesitant to do, but I'm like really glad I did. So that's kind of the wedding season. And then I wanted to, also in my goals, write the second draft of Project Gas Station, another adult thriller, and also like do 2 more drafts of that and readers, and then like write a whole other book. So we're only halfway through the year and I have written the second draft. I think I had planned to like start on the second draft in January when my book was out with readers, and that did not end up happening because I ended up moving. I finished up the second draft last week, and now I'm and I have it with readers and I'm doing my own revision. So draft 3 of Gas Station will be happening hopefully July and August, and probably September if we're honest with ourselves. Also kind of on track with that goal too, which is awesome. Another thing that I have found a lot of success in this is my goal of building community. So I started doing live streams in the morning, which I'm sure if you're subscribed to me, you know, because I'm sure it is an aggressive amount of thumbnails in your life always, but I've started doing that at 6 a.m. and it's been so much fun to build community in such a deeper way. I think I also had to hit 1,000 subscribers in my goals, and I did hit that in April, and so I think I'm gonna up that for the second half of the year. It's bold and ambitious, but I'm gonna say 2K by the end of the year. I'm gonna put that out there, but it is so hard to predict that because you just don't know what videos are gonna do well. I have been gaining at a higher rate than I have like from 0 to 1,000. We'll just see. So subscribe if you're not already. And then I've been doing lives, like I've been like actually talking to writers like, in comment sections and in DMs, and I did a live stream with Brielle, which was so fun, and I have a couple of live streams and like Zoom calls and stuff coming up with other author tubers as well. And so that step from going from just like watching and also creating to like collaborating and like really forming a real sense of community here has been something I'm so grateful for. Another one of my goals for the year was to be social. And in my video, I think I had this goal of like 3 social things a week, which I think I probably do hit most weeks. But I actually have a different social goal, but I have like been on dates, which is crazy. And so that's just a little update on that goal. Remember this? When I said I wanted to run 1 mile, well, I ran a 5K in May, and I am in the middle of my triathlon training, and I am going to do a triathlon. Like, I'm already signed up for it. And hopefully, God willing, I will. The goal I have not been super successful with this year is reading. I've still been reading occasionally, but just that like fervor for reading that I've had the last couple of years has really dimmed down, and I think it's actually okay. What happened with me, and this, I feel like this actually, I've seen this happen to a lot of my friends. When you are in college, you don't read very much unless you do, I don't know. Because you're reading textbooks, you're busy with homework. But once you have a job and you don't have anything else, that homework space I would fill with reading. So the year after I graduated college, I read all the big series, like everything Sarah Janet's ever written, like the Shatter Me series, Percy Jackson. I had never read Percy Jackson, which is kind of crazy. The Caraval universe, the whole Grishaverse I read. I got into rom-coms. I started reading Ali Hazelwood and Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry, and so like I read like all the big hitters. Like if you were to look on TikTok and look up books for basic white girls, I read all of them that year. Then I started reading more like niche, like I would read a lot of new releases from those same authors, and then I would like find these other like lesser known books, and that was also a year. Oh my gosh, I couldn't forget about Lynette Noni, the Prison Healer series. And that was a very busy time. I just started my first job. I'd had other jobs before, but my first like 40-hour week job, and I was also DJing weddings. And it was a very busy, chaotic, stressful time, but I read so much. Like that's what I did, is I worked and I read. And then the next year, I would still read a lot, but the job I was in got very, very, very busy. I read less, but I was definitely reading more than I do now. And I was writing. So that was the beginning of this channel. Those early days, I'd write maybe like 3,000 words a week, which is not nothing. And oftentimes that's the pace that I'm on these days. But like a good writing week for me would be 3,000 words a week. And I struggled that year to get into a writing routine. Like I don't think I ever, that whole year, really had a consistent writing routine. What I would do is that's when I was going to the gym at 6 a.m. And so I would write afterwards, but I didn't really feel like it every day. And like I had a job where my schedule was kind of all over the place. And so I never really had like a consistent writing routine last year until I quit that job. And now I think this year what I've been very refreshed to see and excited, I'm like so excited about this, is that I have found this routine. Like I write at the same time every day, and I write more than that sometimes. I still read a little bit, but I like in all the habits that I've always wanted to be in consistently. Well, not all of them, but like specifically, like I'm meal prepping and I'm eating what I meal prep, and then I'm also writing at the same time every day. There are a few other habits I would like to just get a little bit more regular. The fact that I'm able to do that, make progress in my writing, stay consistent with YouTube, and still perform well in my job, and have time to be social, is just like, I feel like I'm living in this, I shouldn't even say this out loud because it's all probably gonna change, but I feel like I've really found this balance this year that I'm very grateful for. And I know that it's not a balance that will last forever. In the next 5 years, like my relationships will change and my responsibilities will change, and I'm aware of that. But right now I am like living in this time where my routines are so set in a way that they have not been. And I think a big part of that actually is I moved to a different job. I'm not gonna talk about this all that much, but this is gonna be such horrible advice. I don't even know if it's advice. I think that there are different types of jobs. I think some jobs are like career focused jobs. And I think that some jobs are good to have if you have a hobby. But before I had a job where you had to be on and in it and with it and working and thinking about it outside of work. And now I'm in a job where I don't need to think about it outside of work. Like when I'm at work, I'm working, but it's not like I need to be like draining myself every time I'm there. And that has increased my productivity so much. Like my hours are the same, but what I can do in the outside hours is so much greater now because I'm not sucked dry at work. And so if you are trying to make writing more consistent and more regular, but you have a really taxing job, give yourself a breath and a moment and like give yourself some grace, because it's hard to be super invested and super care in two things that feel like work. Because writing, though, for 90% of us, it is a hobby, it is something you do for fun, it's still work. And so to do something like that, and if you have a job that's like on a computer, it can feel the same. Your body and your mind like focus on it in the same way. And so if you have two things that are focusing the same, it's really hard, and you can't, and it's hard to write. And so though I still do have good, I feel like my boss is gonna see this and fire me. Like I still am focused in my job, but it doesn't suck everything out of me. If you have been thinking about this for a while and you've been wondering like, where's the disconnect? Why can I not focus when I'm supposed to be focused? Like, and you're working a job that is really taxing and you're also trying to write a book that's really taxing, give yourself some grace. And also just think about like, is that the relationship you want to have with your job and with your writing? And just keep that in mind in whatever decision you decide to make, and whatever like changes and opportunities come up, like that could be just a factor to think about. And so that's something that's really shifted for me this year that I'm really happy about. And that job was a great experience, but it was not an experience I needed to have for 10 years, you know? It taught me a lot, but then it took too much, you know? Anyway, I don't know how that's related to my 6-month goals. There's just something to think about. I get reflective, so I don't think so. But for the second half of the year, to kind of reevaluate, I'm definitely doing my triathlon. And then after my triathlon, I want to work on getting a pull-up, which I've tried to do. I've worked towards that in the past and I never quite got there, and I want to do that. And then maybe next year I'll do a 10K. I don't know. I would just like really love to maintain these habits I'm in. I love it so much. And then, so for sure, draft 3 of Gas Station. And then I want to outline and write the first draft of a new book in like September, October, November during NaNoWriMo. And then during that time, I want to have another round of readers going on Gas Station. And so then for the new year, getting into that 4th draft of Gas Station, which hopefully will be like similar to like the wedding season earlier this year, where it's already gone through its big developmental overhaul and now it's focused on smaller scene level, line level. It actually might take a little bit longer because I'm bringing in readers earlier, but I'm not bringing as many readers in earlier, so I'll still be having like big dev edit people, like people that I pick as readers who are like thriller readers and looking for plot things in a second round. You know, like I'm pulling some of my original first round readers into the second round because I don't want them to see the draft so messy, if I'm honest. I don't want that many opinions at the beginning, so it'll be a bigger team of readers the second round when typically it's a bigger team of readers the first round. Anyway, so it might take another draft, which like, if I'm real with you all, my hope is that I sign with an agent at some point in the next year, which is actually very unlikely. But there's a good chance, but there's also not a good chance at all. So I don't know, all this could be thrown out the window. But because I have the query stuff going with the wedding season right now, and like some of those response times are like 9 months, like you could have a whole baby, I'm not in as big of a hurry to get the next one query ready. I would still like it to be sometime in 2025 to be querying, to switch to Project Gas Station. But I was in a bigger hurry, not even a hurry, that makes it sound like I rushed, which I didn't, but I was moving at a faster pace with the wedding season because I knew that the book I had been querying was like, it was not good enough. And so I wanted to get a book in the trenches that I knew was actually good enough. That's kind of what I'm looking at with writing in the next 6 months. I would like to do something in the realm of like a resource for querying authors that is not like a how to query, because I don't know, I haven't gotten an agent, how would I know? That's more of like a community for querying authors that is outside of the public eye, because like we need a place to vent. And I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. So if you have ideas of like, how would you, if you're Aquarian right now, or if you're going to be soon, how would you like to see some sort of place where we could build community? Like, what would you want that to look like? Those are my thoughts. I also want to keep doing live streams because it's so fun. But yeah, tell me how your last half of the year has been. If you're looking at me and being like, Alyssa, you've hit every one of your goals. I haven't been doing that. This is the first time I've ever gotten even close to hitting my goals in this way. Just let me know how it's been going. What are you hoping to have happen for you in the next 6 months? Bye.